here. If you have a celebration, we love celebrations here at Inspired. So share your celebrations, whether or not it's a milestone or you're ending the year strong or you've made a decision on how you're moving forward in 2020. It could be a small step or it could be a huge leap. We always want to hear those celebrations. So make sure you stop and put that information down below. Let's see. Of course, Julia's introducing herself. She says she works with me. She is my right arm. There is no way I could do all that we do here with Inspire without Julia. So make sure if you're looking for someone to connect with and to do a strategy session with, I highly recommend any of the ones out on our strategist team. But Julia is a fantastic resource on how this whole referral marketing thing can work. So let's talk about, given time for people to jump on here, let's talk about the difference between asking for a referral to your target market or a recommendation to your ideal client base. Let's start with the first, okay? Let's talk about target markets. And a lot of times, and we even use the word target market in a lot of our training. So it's not like the words are wrong. It's the theory that I want to give you guys something to think about, something to ponder on today is a lot of people think that it's just so simple to go out there and just say, when let's back up. People who are out there doing networking and referral marketing think that all they have to do is show up and educate people and ask about, this is my target market. This is my target market. This would be a great referral for me. The problem is if you actually stop and listen to how they're describing their target market, most of the time what I have found is that the information is so broad or it's really not crystal clear why that person, would be your target market. And so I want you to get to think about the difference between just growing trying to tell people how to get you to a target market versus your ideal client base. So let's play a game real quick. If you think about it, your target market is someone who has that potential to need your product or services, right? It's a description of people who have a challenge and you offer the solution to. And so if you think about that, every one of you, if you look at your client base, your existing client base, then you would agree that that's your target market. These are people who needed your product or service and they bought from you. Okay, so your existing client base should be a demographic of your target market description. And so my question for you is if you're just going to ask people for your target market, you realize that you could collect a wide variety of a client base. So if you were to go down your existing client base right now, and let's just label them, let's just do 4 labels. And you go through and, A being your most important, your VIP client base. And for me, an A client for me is, they have to hit like on all 3 things. One, the product or service they're buying from me actually makes me money, right? It actually is it's a product or service that makes me money. It has a profit margin that is favorable for my business. Second, I enjoy the services that I am providing that person. So, when you have a company that offers multiple products or multiple services, there could be a service that one of your clients, that you provide, it's not your favorite thing to do. It's not your favorite product or service to sell. It's not the thing that makes you the most money. So we definitely want those 2 things to hit at the top, the product or service that you enjoy providing, and that product or service actually makes you money. And then the third thing that makes someone an A client for me is that they go out and recommend my product or service. So they're part of my growth strategy also. So that makes an A client for me. So when I'm going down my client list, that's exactly what I'm evaluating. Is this someone an A client? A B client for me is someone that has some of those attributes, but not all 3. Maybe it's a client that makes me money, but it's not necessarily the product or service that is my favorite product or service to offer. Or it's someone who they do the product or service, but I really don't make a lot of money from that client because maybe I only see them every now and then. So they're not my highest profit margin, but they also have the potential to refer me. They just don't do it very often, or they know how to, but they haven't done it yet. Okay, so there's that yet. So a B client, I can't put that check mark all the way across the board. And I always say there's the potential to turn the B into an A, but just going down that list, where does that fall? A C client is someone who, quite frankly, they're just not hitting it across the board, anywhere. They're a lower service, or it's a service I'm not crazy about providing. It could be that out of everything that I could do for them, they choose the smallest menu item that I could do for them. So they're there. There's potential to turn them. They're not referring me. They're in my client base. Okay. I always tell everybody I'm really kind of tepid. Like they're not hot, on a scale for me. I'm not hot on a scale for them. Okay. So they're in my client base. And then you have the D client. And I say D because these are the ones that you need to disengage from. These are clients that are actually costing you money. It could be their attitude. It could be the way that the service is being, their expectations versus, what you sat down to begin with, and mapped out your agreement, it might not line up. They're the ones that I always say, they're the ones when you see their name in your phone, you cringe before you pick up the phone. Okay, those are signs that you probably need to disengage from them. And I believe in every year going through your client list before you move into any future engagements or you move into this, is you take a really hard look at your client base and identify your A, B, C, and D clients. Go ahead and professionally disengage from those that are on that D, because if you don't, there's a potential for them, if you think of it in a triangle, there's a potential for that D base to actually cause you to, suck up more of your time. Therefore, you can't spend time with your A and B clients and have them grow your business the way you need to. So I always say the best thing you can do if you're a small business owner or you're in sales or you're in contract is you want to jump up every single day and enjoy the day you have ahead of you. You want to enjoy the services that you're providing, the clients that you get to work with, the team members that you get to go on this journey with. And so why would you ever just say that, hey, a target market, a generic target market is a great referral for me? When you have the chance to use your words and actually train people, these are people who are out there saying, how can I help you? When you can actually change your words and teach them how to recommend you to your ideal client base. And that means those A, B clients. And so what you want to do is actually start with understanding what is that client base, that A, B client. What services are you finding that you enjoy providing the most? What services make you the most money? What services, what are things about that client base that makes it, something that you would like to repeat over and over and over again? And, so I'll just take it back as an example. There are some people, obviously as a business consultant, I can have my target market. I could say small business owners, people who are on their own business, people who need to, who hate cold calling. Like I could go through a list of things that, yes, I could build a client base. But ultimately, what makes my A clients and B clients are very specific services I offer, but more importantly, the attitude that the client brings with them. I have a lot of people that will invest into consulting, invest into a program, but they're not willing to actually invest into themselves. They're not willing to invest in the time, the change it might make, the things that they may have to do different in order to achieve the goals that they wish. So to me, attitude is a huge part of evaluating someone who would make a really good client for me to work with. And that's why I do free consulting in the beginning, because I also want them to learn about me, but I also want to learn about them. So there's some different ways that we evaluate what an A client and a B client is for our company. And so one of the things that we strive to do when we're meeting with our potential, with our referral generators, with our referral partners, is that we like to train them on what our A and B clients look like. Now, you have a choice when it comes to word of mouth marketing and referral marketing. I always tell everybody you have a choice of the words that come out of your mouth. So it's a boomerang effect. What you throw out there is what you're going to get back. So if you throw out this wide net of this is what a great referral for me would look like, then understand you're going to get a wide range of client base. And you're not always going to enjoy what you catch. But if you begin to hone in on your words, you begin to use words that really describe the attributes of the target market that really makes it an ideal client, then what you're doing is you're spending time. We call it the who and the how. You're spending time training your referral generators to recognize your who. It could be trigger words. It could be life events that they're going through. It could be the position they hold in a company. It could be the type of company, a certain industry. There's all different types of descriptive attributes that you need. I always say you need to practice writing them down, formulating true descriptive words, maybe even scenarios in which, your referral partners would see these attributes show up, such as, instead of saying I like to work with people, I have a product or service that works with people who have back pain. Why not change your words and say, the next time you attend church, you see people in the back pew who sit in the back so they can stand up during service and they look like their back hurts. Just changing your words just a little bit, beginning to describe to people the different ways that when you walk into a room and survey the room and you pick up on those trigger words, those, whether or not it's a brand new shiny business cards because someone's brand new in business, whatever it is that triggers that need for your product or service. That's a who, and it's great. It is a necessary piece for you to train your referral generators what your who looks like. Because otherwise, there's a lot of assumptions out there. People may assume what type of client you're looking for. How many of you have ever been referred to someone based off of an assumption that that's the type of client you'd want? Look, I could raise my hand 100 times over. People want to refer people. People want to be a part of your success story. I have no doubt that there are people out there that, have asked you how they can help you. And how you respond to that is the results that happen on the other side of it. The more crystal clear you are in what your ideal client looks like, and your ability to verbalize it. And when I say verbalize it, I even mean like the way it needs to show up on your social media, the way you write about it, the way you use your images, the way that you verbalize it at a networking event in an exchange of information. The way you train, the information that you take into a strategy session when you have that opportunity to really focus in on each other's business with your referral generators. Like, what words are you taking to train someone? So once you have them have a really good idea of what your who is, then you have to add the how. Because here's the deal. I could sit here all day long and tell you who would be a great referral for me. And you may even recognize someone. You may go, oh my gosh, that person needs to be on here and listen to Amy, or I need to tell them about Amy's program. And that is great. That is great that you recognize that person or you think of that person. But if that's where it ends and you don't know how to actually properly recommend me, then what happens is sometimes when the middle of that opportunity to make that recommendation, if I don't have that comfort level of knowing the proper way to bring you up, one, I could bring you up wrong. Have you ever had anyone recommend you and the words that are coming out of their mouth, you're cringing the whole time they're saying it because what they're saying isn't correct? I've had that happen. And I had to pull my referral partner aside and say, I need you to say it this way. Or the next time someone asks you that and you think it's me, if you can bring me up this way. This is the better way to bring me up. And so you have to train your referral generators how to actually recommend you. And that takes time. And that's what strategy sessions are about, or that's what repeat engagements at networking events are all about. It's about developing, not just growing wide with your network, but going deep with your referral generators. When you begin to understand not only what each other's ideal target market, ideal client base looks like, but you begin to have the words to actually bring each other up in a way that it creates that opportunity, that true referral, that by the time I get on the phone with that person, or I've been, had a chance to set something up and talk to them, they already know about me. I'm not having to sell myself in the first 7 seconds. I'm not having to tell them how I got their number. I'm not having to explain to them what I do and why I was the person that they needed to talk to, because my referral generators have already done that for me. They've already laid the foundation for me. So I love it when I get that chance to talk to that prospect, and it's more an exploration. We're both exploring whether or not my product or services is actually what they need, and whether or not what they need or who they are and all of the little attributes that I'm looking for makes them a good client for me. And then we can explore what that would look like if we wanted to move forward with one another. I much rather have a dialogue with a prospect than a sales pitch, right? And that's me personally. Many of you know I hate cold calling. I hate feeling like I have to sit there and make a sale. Instead, I love when I can hear the challenge that someone has. And if I feel that I can be the solution for that, and we can move forward in a way that's beneficial for them and for me, then that's where I want to go. How many of you feel the same exact way about your business? How many of you feel confident that you have referral generators, referral partners that can recognize your ideal client base versus just a generic target market for you? No assumptions, right? We don't want any assumptions out there. How many of you can speak with confidence that you have communicated with your referral generators what your ideal client looks like, and you've taken the time to take them through the wanting, willing, and able phases to actually make that recommendation for you, the how piece of it? That's the tip I wanted to share this morning. So I wanted to open it up real quick. Good morning, Doug. How are you? Doug's on the road this morning, so I guess he's going to be funny. So here is your chance to share with me, and I believe I'm seeing all the chat streams down below. If not, I'll go back out and check on all the pages. We are multi-streaming, so this is going out to about 6 or 7 different platforms right now, so I'll make sure and check that. But if you would like, go ahead and share some of your success stories that you've had with telling other people and getting that referral that you've been looking for. What has that been like for you? Also share some of your challenges. So while you're waiting down there, because I want to answer some of your questions. This is what I always tell my true story of why I've needed to learn how to change my words early on when it comes to referral marketing. So some of you know that my background is accounting, and so that's what I did for many years, and that's actually the industry I was in when I discovered referral marketing. And I had the opportunity, and gosh, it was many, many, many years ago, but I had the opportunity to stand up in front of a room and tell them what a great referral for me would look like. And in the beginning, I didn't have a clue. I was just excited that there was some structure to it. I knew what to do, when to stand up. And I had the opportunity to stand up and say what a great referral for the accounting firm was. And I sounded like a brochure. Like I can go back now and I could just probably cringe at some of the things I would say. Like I would say, we're a full service firm. We do tax returns. We do financial, we do payroll, blah, 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 like bullet point brochure. And, the reputation of the firm, being professional, here's all our services, within the time frame allotted, you would think that was a really good opportunity to generate referrals for your business. What happened is when you have a lack of information, it leaves room for assumptions. Okay, for assumptions. And it didn't take me very long to realize that if I failed to educate what a good referral for me in my position in the firm and what I was looking for, then the assumption was that tax returns were a great referral for me because I was an accountant. And, it's one of the first things we would say. And it's, of course, what most people associate. And so I was getting referrals, right? So think about that. I was getting the referrals that made us money, but it wasn't the product or service that I enjoyed the most. Gosh, doesn't that just sound horrible that you'd wake up every single day? Yes, you're getting paid, but you're miserable while you're doing it. And so I realized that unless I changed that information that I was delivering to others, that I was just going to continue creating what I call a job, right? Where you're making money, but you're miserable while you're doing it. Instead, I wanted to create a career. I wanted to create a business. And eventually I had the opportunity to have the firm that I was in. And so what happened is I decided, this is a good referral for me. And I began to change my words. And at that time, I'm really going to date myself here. At that time, QuickBooks was brand new. Really, really new. And in fact, Peachtree was on its way out. I think Lotus was still out there. So, green ledger sheets were still in play. So QuickBooks was new. And I was one of the few that actually had jumped in and learned it. And so what I realized is that the more if I could get the client to work in the QuickBooks and do it correctly and train it correctly, the tax returns were actually easier on the other side of it, but I could get paid training QuickBooks. And I always have had a heart for training. And so I began to get people to think of QuickBooks, think of Amy, think of QuickBooks, think of Amy. And all of a sudden the referrals began to turn the other way. I began to generate the referrals for QuickBooks instead of just for the tax returns. Tax returns were the necessary evil in my business for me. But this allowed me to make money all year long. And if the information was nice, neat, and clean and came in on a CD, doing the tax return was a lot easier. So it changed my profit margin on that also. So by changing my words, I changed the way my business grew and also the bottom line. Okay. And so understanding that there's a big difference between just going out there and generically asking for a target market versus going out there and training your referral generators to recommend you to your ideal client base. So if you guys have enjoyed today's tip, make sure you jump on every single Tuesday. Set your alarm clock for tips on Tuesdays with me here at 10 o'clock. And if you've got a question or a certain topic you would like me to address, go ahead and put it in the question the comments below. It allowed me to plan for next week and come out here and do that. If not, then I just pick a topic based off of things that I have clients that run into those roadblocks, or things that I've seen over time that typically hold people up when it comes to referral marketing. If you'd like to learn more about our program, I would love to tell you about it. You can go visit our site at inspiredignite.com, where we train people how to grow their business through referral marketing. If you want to connect with other professionals who also love referral marketing, join us on our private Facebook group. It's called Inspired Nation. I'll put a link out there. It's free. You jump in, and it's full of professionals who want to connect with one another and develop strategy sessions and grow their business through referral marketing. I invite you to join us over there. That's where we share a lot of information, and of course it gives you an opportunity to connect with other like-minded, like-kinded professionals who are on fire for their business. Guys, have a fantastic day, and I will look to see you guys next Tuesday.